Hey, what is up, guys? It is Phantom here, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. So, in this video, I'm going to be bringing you guys another tier list video, and oh my god, it has been quite a while since I've done one of these. I think the last one was the Death Spell tier list. I've also done other tier lists on my channel, such as, like, the Final Boss tier list, or, I don't know, just, like, random stuff like that, but for the most part, I am doing these spell tier lists here, and I'll probably just go through every school eventually, but it has been a while since the last one of these, and I know some people do indeed like them, but anyways, today we're doing ice. As you can see here, there is pretty much every single ice spell in the game, because I got it off the wiki, so I'm pretty sure this is the right little image layout of all of them. So there is quite a bit of ice spells. Last time I did do death, and yeah, a lot of people did seem to enjoy it. I think I've also done fire and storm, so I believe this will be the fourth time I do a spell tier list. So anyways, guys, let's just really get straight into it. We got a lot of spells to go through. Obviously these videos take a long time to do, so obviously coming up first we have Frost Beetle. Let me just do the thing where I copy the layer and everything, because blah blah blah, images and shit. So we got Frost Beetle here as the first one. Gosh, where does Frost Beetle belong on this marvelous list? I'm thinking, here, we can enlarge the image a bit. If you guys don't know, I am doing this in Photoshop. It's what I use to make all the thumbnails. That photo quality is shit, but it's fine. Where should I put Frost Beetle? I know in the past I've put a lot of these beginner spells at, like, C tier, because it's, like, they're not that good, but they're also, like, classics, just in my opinion, but, like, I mean, Frost Beetle's not good, though. That's the thing. It's not a good spell. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it at E tier, because I'm done with putting, like, I'm done with that whole thing involving putting, like, decent, or, like, low spells at, like, the decently high tiers. That's what I'm trying to say, but like, let's just leave him here, okay? I don't think he really deserves any higher than that. I mean, Frost Beetle, let's be honest, it's a pretty shit spell. I feel like even in, like, PvP, when you would, like, use Frost Beetle, it would be just to break a shield, so uh-oh. Alright, coming up next here, we have, oh, I actually didn't know Stun was the second spell you actually got as an Ice Wizard. That's pretty weird. I thought it was Snow Serpent, but okay, coming up next we've got Freeze. Basically, it literally just stuns your target for one round. You know, I mean, this can be useful. Obviously, like, stuns are pretty useful in and of themselves, but it's not the best. Like, it's 70% accuracy, and you get it at, like, level 5 or something, right, when you finish Unicorn Away, which is pretty messed up in my opinion. So where should I put this thing? Where should I put this darn little stun? I mean, it is a stun, so I'm going to put it up in B tier. I think it's a pretty decent spell. The low accuracy obviously brings it down, but all in all, it really is just a stun, and it doesn't do anything else. Like, it's just a 0-pip stun. Like, a ton of schools have spells like that. So coming up next, we've got, here, I gotta make sure I click on the right layer, just so I can select these properly, but next up we got Snow Serpent. Another classic, obviously. Most Ice Wizards do end up getting this before they quit the game, but next up we have Snow Serpent. I mean, it's literally just an upgraded Frost Beetle. I think it's just a D tier spell. Like, it's just a spell. It's just flat damage, you know. I feel like, I don't know, I just don't use it that much past a certain level on my ice. Obviously, I never use it on, like, my level 80 ice, who's, like, in Avalon right now, like, obviously. But you would use it as a lower level, but I'm just gonna put it there. It's alright. Like, it's okay. I mean, it's a D tier spell, but it's okay, you know. It's an alright D tier spell. Alright, coming up next, we have Ice Trap. Okay, see, now we're getting into some good spells. We're getting into some decent spells here. Let's put this guy, Ice Trap here. I'm gonna put him in A tier, because I did this with all the traps in the past. It is not as good as a Blade in my opinion. I think Blades are a lot more efficient. Obviously, they boost your spells a lot more, and you can put them on your wizard, and with traps, you'd have to put them on a specific enemy, so it's not quite that S tier. But Ice Trap's still a very, very good spell to use and everything. I mean, Ice Trap, like, what can I say except it just magnifies your damage, you know? Still a great spell, though. Next up, we have Volcanic Shield, I think. Sorry, the text image is a bit small there. Text on the image. It is a Storm and Fire Shield, as you can see by the image there. Where do I want to put Set Shield? Where do I want to put Volcanic Shield on this list? Fuck, dude. I mean, it's like, it's a shield. You know, I'm gonna put it in C, just because it's something different. It's other than, like, it's different than, like, these low tier flat damage spells that, like, you'd only use at a certain level. Volcanic Shield, obviously, if you're, like, questing through Azteca or something, right, and you're fighting a really hard storm boss, then you could use these in your deck. Like, I feel like shields never really go out of style, so I'll put it at C tier because it's pretty decently useful, but it's not terribly useful. Next up, we got Snow Shield. Is that Snow Shield or is that Ice Shield? I don't actually know what that's called. It might be called Snow Shield. I don't know, guys. I'm trying to read the names here. It looks like it's called Snow Shield. Okay, so coming up next we have Ice Shield, Snow Shield, whatever you want to call it. It's another shield, so I mean, it's not as like versatile as the Volcanic Shield though, because I mean, Fire and Storm, you probably want to protect yourself from those bosses. Ice spells are pretty weak in their own right, so when you go up against them in PvE, it's not too good. I'm just gonna put it there. It's gonna chill with Snow Serpent. I feel like it's not as good as Volcanic Shield, just in my opinion. Snow Shield, I mean, you do a lot of like minus damage and everything, so you are pretty useful for some ice bosses, but overall Ice has like pretty weak spells in PvE, so I don't know. I'll leave you there. Oops. Gotta select the right layer here. I haven't done these I haven't done this type of video in a while, so bear with me. Next up, did I just select Ice Shield again? Wow, guys, I'm doing real well today. Sorry, I got like little to no sleep last night. I don't even know. Alright. Next up we have Angry Snowman, or no, I just got those, I just messed up those names. We've got Snowman here. I'm trying to see, okay, I don't even know. We have Snowman. The level 10 ice spell, it's like decent. I think I just put it with like, I think I would just put it with Snow Serpent, but then again, it does do a bit more damage, so you'd use it a bit more probably than your Snow Serpent. I mean, you do get it at level 10, so you'd probably be using this thing for a while, but not for too long. That's the thing. That's the weird thing with these low-level spells, these low-level tiers. You don't really, it's kind of hard to tell where like the flat damage low-tier spells go, but I'm actually gonna put it right on par with Snow Serpent because it just has the same like mechanics to it, but it doesn't have like an outwardly huge amount of damage. Like it's barely an increase up from Snow Serpent, you know. All right, next up we have, is that Distract? I think it's one of these spells, these taunt spells. Oh god, did that again. It's one of these taunt spells that are just awful in my opinion. That I could just never see how you'd use these ever. I mean, I think it goes in F tier, honestly. Like, Distract, it's bad, it's garbage. Like, all of the spells are just garbage, in my opinion. But I don't even know, like, okay, what this spell does, it literally just, when you cast it, I feel like a lot of people don't actually know what these spells do, because they're super weird and they're super useless. It, like, makes it so the enemy has a higher chance of attacking the person who casts this on the enemy, and, like, who taunts the enemy, I believe. Really, really useless in my opinion. I don't like it. I don't like these spells. They're not my cup of tea. I can understand maybe they'd be useful in some sort of like strategic sense, like if the tank wants all the damage to be like put onto him, I guess, but I don't know. That spell's not for me. Alright, next up we got Ice Prism. Now, it's a prism, right? So I think it goes in C tier because it just has one function. Obviously, you're only going to use it ever if you're an Ice Wizard facing an Ice boss, you know, and you want, you know, obviously Ice has lots of resist. I don't know why I'm explaining basic mechanics of the game, but literally it just has one function, as does this. This has basically one function as well. Shields, shield, prisms, prism. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. I'm going to put you at C tier. Obviously still pretty useful. It's just very, very situational. I mean, that's the whole point of a prism, but oh boy. Next up we have Taunt. Wow, y'all already know. Y'all already know where this is going. Right there. I'm sorry, this is going to be a common theme throughout this tier list. You're probably going to see most of these taunt spells here because they just suck. They're just awful. They are absolutely dog shit, and I would never use them. Now, next up, we have an interesting one. We've got Tower Shield, alright? Tower Shield is where it's at. This is a really, really good ice spell. I use this. Obviously, it's a staple for PvP. It's really good in PvE, too, just because it's a universal shield and everything. I'm wondering, should I put it in S tier or is it in A tier? I don't know. I don't even know. This my OCD is triggering and it keeps making me resize the image. Should I put it in S tier or does it belong in A tier? Like, because S tier is reserved for those really, 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 really good spells. But Ice Trap is also like, are these two on, like, these two are definitely on par with each other, but is this greater than Ice Trap? I think it is. I think Tower Shield is an S tier just because it's so widely used by like every single wizard, except I mean it's used by every single wizard, not just like Ice Wizards. You know, it's not limited to that Ice Wizard stigma. You know, I don't even know this image. God, I don't even know these these images. They're giving me some trouble, but Tower Shield, it's universally used by seriously every single wizard, so why wouldn't I put it in S tier? You know, it's such a good spell. Honestly, it's such a good spell. Next up is an interesting one. We've got Frozen Armor or Ice Armor. That might be what it's called. I don't know. Like I said, the text is really tiny, but next up we have, it looks like Ice Armor. This spell, it's an absorb, so it's pretty good. Like I've heard of a lot of battle strategies with ice, like doing PvP or PvE, that is. I mean, I bet this is also used in PvP a lot. Sorry guys, my PvP knowledge is pretty limited, but in PvE I've heard of strategies where someone gets to full like power pips and everything, then they cast this, and then they're basically set for the whole battle. So I feel like it can be really OP when it's used like that, which is probably why I'm gonna put it in A tier, because I feel like this is a really good spell. If you actually like take the time to use it, I think it could be really strategic and really good. So next up we have, after Ice Armor, we have Ice Wyvern, another flat damage spell, definitely on the lower tier side. You probably won't be using this. Well, actually, you'd probably be using this one for a greater amount of time. I think it's definitely a C tier, just because you have that flat damage. Like it is really good. It's really useful. It is a bit higher because obviously it does more damage than Snow Serpent or Evil Snowman. That's the name, Evil Snowman. God, this text is really giving me trouble. My vision's not the best right now. I literally just woke up like an hour ago. sorry if I'm groggy. Sorry if you could tell. But Ice Wyvern, it's definitely a C tier. It's a really good spell. Why did I just say that? It's not really. It's just a good spell. Honestly, C tier and above are definitely all good spells, but it's just flat damage. But it's decent flat damage, you know what I mean? Alright, next up we have the Ice Dispel, which is Melt. Now, I don't know how strategic this is. Obviously, in PvP, if you're like setting for an Ice Wizard, it makes sense to pack these, but otherwise, I mean, if a boss has like an Ice Spell cheat, you could obviously strategically use this. I feel like, I'm trying to think of how often these are used, because I don't know, I think it belongs in a B tier, you know? With like that semi-strategic kind of card, like Freeze. I don't know, Melt is just a dispel. Like it's a set. It's really situational, you know? I'm just gonna make sure I'm still recording here. Yeah, okay, we're good. I use OBS to record, by the way. I don't want to lose this, so. Alright, next up after Melt, we have Steel Ward. This one's interesting, actually, because I feel like it is very strategically used. Uh-oh, I just fucked that up. I think this is very strategically used. It's a pretty decent spell. I bet in PvP, people probably use this a decent amount. I bet all the PvP people are cringing at me right now. I'm sorry. But Steel Ward, I'm going to put it at B tier as well. Same with all these guys. It's very situational. It's a very situational spell. I feel like it's not universally used. I feel like this is more of an Ice Wizard thing, but it's not a bad spell. Like, it has good effects and everything. Like, Steel Ward, like, you get their shield. I don't know, that's pretty useful to me. Next up, we have Frostbite. This spell is interesting, definitely. A lot of these spells are interesting. Next up, we got Frostbite, which is obviously Ice's, like, dot overtime spell. It does pretty decent damage, actually, for an Ice spell. Like, it does definitely do a pretty decent chunk of damage. I think I would put it in B tier. I don't use it that much on my Ice. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not a great spell, right? But I think like, that dot can be useful in some situations, especially because the first attack is really weak. So if the enemy has a shield, this could be definitely a really good spell to use. So it's just, I don't know, it's more than just flat damage. It's got that dot effect. So I'm going to put it in D tier just for that. Coming up next, we've got, I believe, Sap Health, Drain Health, like those Drain Health of minion spells. So sacrifice your minion for like 300 health or something, or like 400 health. That's probably what that spell says. Is that 350? That looks like 350. This spell, I'm gonna put this in D tier. Honestly, I feel like maybe a lot of people, like if you're like an avid user of minions and everything, maybe you think this is good for PvE purposes, but I'm sorry. Like, it's a D tier spell. Like, I've never used this on my Ice ever. I've never summoned a minion on my Ice, but I've also obviously never used this. I don't know, like, I don't think this would have much PvP use either. I think it's kind of dog shit, so I'm gonna put it right there at D tier. Alright, coming up next, we actually have a really interesting spell here. Actually, a pretty useful one, too. We have Blizzard. I think this definitely goes in A tier, honestly, because it's the first AoE ice spell you get, unless you have, like, some sort of item card or treasure card that you've been using up until that point. But at level, what is it, 22, I believe, you get Blizzard. Obviously, it's 4 pips. It doesn't even do 300 damage to all enemies. Yes, you could argue it's a pretty weak spell, but honestly, in the grand scheme of all ice spells, this is probably an A tier. I mean, let's be honest, it's an AoE, and it's the first AoE you get, and it comes in clutch many, many times, or at least it did for me, so I don't really know what else to say about that, except it's just an AoE, and AoEs are good. Especially low-level AoEs, it can make, like, questing go by much faster and everything. Alright, next up we have Ice Guardian, where we summon that Colossus minion or something like that. I remember using this spell a few times on my ice. It was pretty trash, honestly. I think I'm gonna put it in, like, oh gosh, is it worth the D tier? I think I'm gonna put it in D tier because the minion isn't very good. I've experimented with a few minions in the past, and honestly, this one's not very good. It's got a decent amount of health, I believe, but the spells, they're just not for me. I don't like this guy, honestly. I've never found myself, or I very, very, very rarely found myself actually using this guy on my ice, but I'm sure he can have his useful moments, but he is a minion, and I don't like minions for the most part. So next up we have Balefrost, the ice bubble. Okay. This one's pretty good. It obviously gives a permanent increase to your spells by, what is that, 35% or 25%? I don't actually know. It's only 2 pips, but if that's 35%, that's really, really good. I think it actually might be 35%. Okay, I think I might put this just in A tier here because, I mean, it's 2 pips, but, like, once you get that bubble up, you know, like, your ice spells are pretty much good from there on. Yeah, just gonna put that up at A tier because, I mean, it does pretty much all the same effects as, like, a blade or a trap or something. But it lasts way longer. So, next up we have Legion Shield. Wow, I can't talk today, but next up we have Legion Shield here. God, where do I put this guy? Oh god, he's okay. I mean, I think I'm gonna put him in B tier. I don't know, I feel like Legion Shield itself is just really, really useless when you're not with a group, and I'm solo a lot of the time with my ice, so I don't find myself using this spell too much, but I can see how it would be useful if the ice is trying to, like, I don't know, keep everyone alive, obviously, because they're a tank and everything, so I can see why 30% on, like, 4 wizards for only, like, 1 pip can be really, really good, but I think it is pretty situational, like a lot of shields, but it's pretty decent. Legion Shield, it's a pretty decent spell, but like I said, I don't quest in groups very often, so I might not find it as useful as some other people. But coming up next, we have, oh, yeah, you already know where this is going. Ice Blade. Yep, and we're just gonna do that, and there we go. Ice Blade, S tier. I mean, it's a blade. You don't get it till level 38 as an ice wizard, which really sucks, considering most schools get their blades, like, in the first 10 levels or anything, or 12 levels. You do get this thing at level 38, but, I mean, it serves you well for literally the rest of the game after that, so very, very useful in my opinion. Next up, we have Colossus. This guy, you know, where should I think he goes in B tier. Honestly, it is flat damage, but I do find myself every once in a while using Colossus on my ice wizard. It's pretty decent. I mean, it's decent value for an ice spell for the amount of pips it has. It's just a decent spell all around. And the usage, I mean, I use it quite a bit, so I'm just going to put it there for now. Next up we have, where is that? Where are we? Frost Giant, here we go. Next up we got Frost Giant. This spell is pretty good. This spell is pretty good, except it's 7 pips. It does do a stun, but it does 475 damage, no enchant. Where do I put this guy? He is a stronger AoE than Blizzard, but he has many more pips. I would consider this a very, very inefficient spell, in my opinion. Like, if you're questing in Ice, I highly recommend questing in a group, because your spells, sometimes the damage just, it ain't gonna cut it. You know, it ain't gonna cut it. It's 475 to all, but it's still an AoE, and it's still really, really good. Actually, now that I think about it, it's probably on par with Blizzard, just about, even though the damage per pip, I think, is a little bit off, but I don't know. It's still a pretty good spell, I guess. It's still a good spell. It's still a good AoE for ice and everything. Next up, we have Mega Distract. Ooh, yeah, this one, guys. This one's a juicy one. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna make that mistake a few times. Bear with me. But next up, we have Mega Distract. Oh boy, this one. Oof, yeah. We're putting it there. You already knew. You already knew it was gonna come here. Mega Distract. It's so bad. Like I said, I'm just gonna reiterate, all these spells, absolute trash. I hate them. All right, next up. Next up we got Megaton. This one, yeah, this one is also F tier. Fuck this spell. I hate it. just gonna leave them all right there. You know, they're all just one big happy family down there. But so next up we have, it looks like Frozen Armor. So this is just literally the upgraded version of Ice Armor, except it does, obviously it's an upgrade, it does more absorption and everything, and you can also cast it on another person, I believe. So I think this honestly just belongs up with Ice Armor, probably at A tier. I mean, I just don't think it's quite the S tier. Frozen Armor, it is definitely a decent spell. Like, it's good. It's pretty good, but they both do generally the same thing. This one you can kind of just cast on another person, so I think that just belongs in A tier just for that. But next up we have, oh, this is an interesting one. Another AoE, we have Snow Angel. Okay. This spell is, I would say, hold on. My select skills, they're just the best. I get it, guys, I get it. I'm really good at this. But next up we have Snow Angel here. Where should I put this guy? He, honestly, I think he goes in S, and here's my reasoning, right? This spell, for 8 pips, right, it's obviously, you don't get the most amount of value for it and everything, but I think it also taunts the enemy too. I forgot about that. I forgot that it does that. That makes me want to put it in F tier, but it's fine. It's okay. Really, I see this as just a better AoE than Blizzard and Frost Giant. Like, sure, Frost Giant, you get the stun and everything, which is nice, but really, this just gives more flat damage overall. Like, it's definitely one of the best flat damage AoEs for Ice, and with the level that you get it at, I use it a ton on my Ice. I think it's really useful. So, let's see. Click the right layer. Next up, we have Woolly Mammoth. Okay. This one's interesting, obviously. They're all interesting, but can I drag him? Please, can I get the image? Thank you. Woolly Mammoth, I'd have to put him, he's a solid spell. Like, he's pretty solid for the most part, but oh god, my Photoshop's starting to lag just because of all these images. This kind of happens every video, it's fine. Next up, we have Woolly Mammoth. Honestly, it's like just a better Colossus, really. So I think ooh, does it go in A tier, though? Does it go in A tier with all those A tier spells? Because, like, it just does flat damage like a Colossus plus a stun. But it's got decent spell value, but it's not an AoE. This one's really interesting. I think it goes in A tier, though. I think it goes in A tier, Woolly Mammoth. I have some good memories with you. I have some fond memories of you questing through. I would say Zafaria is when I use this the most on my Ice. I don't know. Good times. Pretty good spell overall. Alright, next up we have Mass Ice Prism. This one, obviously, I'm going to have to put it right where Prism is, because it's just Prism, but more. I don't fucking know, guys. I don't fucking know. Where did I put Prism? Oh, it's at C? Okay, never mind. No. It goes at B. Mass Prism definitely does not deserve to be at C. Very useful if you're, like, fighting a double Ice boss. I don't know. Really useful, at least in some situations. But next up, we have Snowdrift. What does this do? Hold on. I might be getting this wrong. I might be getting this spell wrong because I've never used it. Steal 1 heal over time. I think that's what that does. Alright, well that sounds like fucking dog shit to me, so I'm gonna put it in D tier. I just don't know when this will ever be useful. Comment down below what a useful situation for using Snowdrift would be, because I never see this spell used ever, so that's just from my perspective though. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some people have had a different experience. Okay, next we have Cooldown. Let me think. What does this do? Remove 1 from all enemies. Cooldown. Is that like triage? Hold on. I kind of want to look this up what it does. Remove 1 tick from all overtime enemies. This one, it seems like just a better Snowdrift, in my opinion. That's what it looks like. I don't know, because Snowdrift, it's only for heal over times, and whoever fucking uses those anyway. I'm just gonna put this at C tier because it seems like it does a similar thing, but it's just easier to use, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know, though. I'm not the expert on that spell. Next up, we have Freddo the Ice Fish. Oh, God. Good old Freddo, guys. Good old Freddo. Alright, so the thing about this minion, it's definitely a decent minion. I think I'm gonna just jam him right up there at B tier. Because the minion itself, it's a lot better than the Cyclops minion, what am I saying? The Colossus minion. It's a lot better than the Colossus minion. I think you get this at, like, level 75 in Avalon, so I think he's a pretty useful minion, honestly. I mean, for 5 pips, I think he has some good value, but I guess that's just my opinion. But then again, this whole list is my opinion, so I don't know why you're watching then. Next up, we have Ice Spear. This one, I mean, where else can I put it other than, obviously, you know it has to go in. I don't know, actually. Where should I put it? I want to put it... I think I'm going to put it in C tier, just because, like... Actually, but it's kind of dog shit. But it's kind of dog shit. Where should I put it? I think it's good. Either goes in C or D tier. I mean, it only gives Ice Pierce. Like, who actually fucking uses Ice Pierce? You know what? Fuck it. No, it goes in D tier. It goes in D tier because this spell is awful. And that's my final thought. Alright, next up we have King Artorias, but the Ice version. Alright, I need some specifics on this spell because a lot of these spells are alike, especially the King Artorias ones. We've got 7 something damage plus an Ice Spear. And I believe that's a stun 1 round. I can see this seems like it would be good in PvP. I don't know how many people actually use this, how many like ice wizards at whatever level you get this at actually use this. But it seems like it'd be decent. It does seem like it'd be decent. I think I'm gonna put it right up here. I think it's pretty on par with like Colossus, but or is it an A tier? Because Woolly Mammoth, I mean, if we're comparing the damage here, it looks to be pretty on par damage wise. I mean, this obviously does a little bit more, but it is 1 more pip. But you also get a stun out of this. Same with Woolly Mammoth. But you get an Ice Spear too, and it's less pips. Yeah, I think this belongs here. Honestly, I really like all the King Art spells, in my opinion. I think all of them are at least like A or B tier, so I'm going to leave that one there. But moving on to the next one, we have Lord of Winter. Oh, this one's weird. This one's weird because I don't actually know exactly what it does. Hold on. Alright, we got Lord of Winter. Where do I put Lord of Winter? Like, it does a pretty decent amount of damage for an ice spell. And target loses pips, I'm pretty sure. 3 pips, does that say? Sorry, my... I don't know if, like, there's an option to zoom in on the video and everything. I don't know, guys. I don't really know. Alright, Lord of Winter, where do you go, my man? Where do you go? A tier, B tier? Definitely A or B. I don't think it's quite an S. I think I'm going to put it up at A tier, though, because obviously target loses 3 pips. I mean, that's pretty good. But it's a lot of pips. But I feel like it does really good damage for an ice spell. I don't know. I guess that's my opinion, but... Next up, we have... This is... I'm not even going to try to read that name because I know I can't. That's gonna be pretty impossible for me, but... Next up, we have another ice bubble, the Pearson Crit Bubble. This one, plus 20% Ice Pierce, plus 10 Ice Crit, 15 Ice Crit, 20 Ice Crit, something like that. It looks like 15. I don't actually know. I'm probably gonna get some of these wrong, but I do know generally what this bubble does, and I think it probably goes in B tier if I do say so myself. Because like looking at the spells in C tier right now, I think this does go in B tier. It's pretty useful. I don't think I've ever used it on my ice, mainly because I don't think I was high enough. I'm not a high enough level to get this, but it's a decent bubble. I think I prefer the flat damage bubble, which is somewhere here, Balefrost. Yeah, I think I prefer the flat damage bubble, but I don't know. It's still useful. It still gives you some decent stats out of it, so. Next up, we have, Abominable Weaver. This one, I mean, I think most of you already know where this is going, right? I think it's pretty, I think this is a pretty universal thinking. I think this is pretty universal thinking here. We have Abominable Weaver. I mean, it's 5 pips. It goes in S tier. It does an insane amount of damage, obviously. And then you get that 75% shield. Like, that is fucking juicy. That is so fucking juicy. I love Abominable Weaver. Even though my ice actually isn't high enough level to get it, but it's still a really, really good spell. I know it's absolutely broken in PvP, so, I mean, it's just a broken spell all around, in my opinion, so we're going to leave that there. Next up, we have, is that Snowball Barrage with the penguins and everything? This spell's really good, actually. I see this spell used all the time. I think it's called Snowfall Barrage or Snowball. It's probably Snowball Barrage, because considering the animations in the spell and everything. Yeah, that's also an S tier. I mean, it's literally a Tempest, but for ice. Like, it's literally a Tempest, but for ice, but I think it uses a Shadow Pip. Still pretty decent, though. Still a really, really decent spell. I think this is 285, so it might be a little bit stronger than Tempest, actually. Yeah, that's insane, actually. Yeah, Snowball Barrage, definitely an insane spell. I can't wait to get that on my ice if I ever quest on my ice. But next up, we have this spell. This spell is... I don't remember the name exactly, but it is an AoE spell. It is an AoE spell. What's it called? I don't know. I can't tell what that name is. I have no fucking idea. I'm not even gonna pretend like I know what it is, but it is an AoE spell. It is very, very good. It is definitely a pretty good spell. I think I'm gonna put it up in A tier. It looks like almost 1,000 damage, but it's obviously a division spell, so you can divide it to whatever enemy you want, or choose to attack one enemy. It's really your choice, but I think this is an A tier spell. I think a lot of these shadow spells are really, really A tier. Or at least these half shadow, half regular spells. I don't know what you'd call them, but that's definitely an A tier for me. Next up, we have Scion of Ice. Now, this is probably one of the better Scions, in my opinion. It does double damage. It does 1100 damage as a base, but then it does double damage if the target is above 90% health. That's really, really good. Because, I mean, if you're using this, like, as a first option, I think this is extremely good as a first resort, if that makes sense. First resort, I don't really know. Does it go into A tier, or is it an S? This is difficult. This whole tier list biz is difficult. I feel like it's not quite... I don't know, though, because now I'm looking at it, I'm like, maybe Snow Angel doesn't belong up there. And maybe this does. Oh, God. Oh, decisions. Oh, God. Whatever I do, the audience is going to hate me because everyone has a different opinion. Oh, God. Where do I put this guy? Oh, I'm having a crisis right now. I think... Now that I'm looking at it, I think this probably goes up here. And then Snow Angel. I actually don't remember what layer it is. Shit, I might have to get back to that. I'm so bad at this. But I think it probably belongs in S tier. And Snow Angel, you know what? We'll keep you up there for now because you're still a really good AoE. But a Scion of Ice, literally, if you're using it, like, when the enemy... If it's the first thing you use on an enemy, I just think it's OP. Really, I just think it's OP. It's obviously still a good spell, even when it's not doing a double damage, so... Yeah, I don't know, it's just a really good spell. Yeah, Scion of Ice, it's pretty OP. Next up, we have Stun Block. I think this one, for being like a strategic spell, mostly, I mean, yeah, obviously, it's always a strategic spell. What the fuck am I saying? I think this goes in A tier, just because you take a look at all these utility spells like Seal Ward, Stun, and Melt and everything like that, and Legion Shield, but it's like, how often do you use Stun Block in PvP and in PvE? Like, a lot. You know? Like, a lot. Like, stun blocking is, like, a really, really important thing to do. Like, a really, really essential thing. I think that's, like, actually a pretty essential spell. Yeah, that definitely belongs in A tier. Next up, we're getting to the end here. We got Handsome Fomori. I mean, this spell... it's okay. Like, it's not the best, obviously. There's better ice spells. There's better lore spells, but... It looks like it does... 450 to 530 damage plus a little bit of a mantle there for 5 pips, so it's got good spell value. I mean, that's good at least. Oh, where does this boy go? Fuck. I think... Is it a B tier spell or is it an A tier? Looking up at what's in A tier, I think I'm going to put it in B tier because you got some pretty godly spells in A tier, honestly. Like, all these are really, really useful. This one's definitely not as useful, but I could definitely see that it would be used pretty often. Alright, next up, we have the God, Winter Moon, or last up, actually, because it's the last spell. That's kind of insane. Wait, let me make sure, am I leaving out any spells? Oh, there's 2 more, actually, oh shit. I'm glad I did that now. Okay, next up we got Winter Moon, so this isn't the last spell, but, alright. That's actually really funny. Okay, Winter Moon, it's really good, right? It's really good, but is it S tier good? Like, it's definitely one of the best lore spells. Like, it does a good amount of damage, and then it stuns the enemy. Obviously, probably mostly useful in PvP, but it is a decent spell. Fuck, dude. But is it S tier good? You know? Is it S tier good? I think it might be just an A tier. I feel like it might just be an A tier. But it is really good. Don't get me wrong. I think this is like, if I had an A+ tier, I would probably put Winter Moon on the A+ tier, like if I had little sub tiers, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not a fucking bitch. But Winter Moon, it's definitely an A tier. It's just, yeah, it's good value, plus the stun. Really, really good in PvP, and probably decent in PvE too. Alright, next up we've got, our second to last up, we have Angry Snow Pig. So this is 4 pips. This is like one of the worst, well, not one of the worst. I wouldn't say it's, okay, it's not a horrible ice spell, but it's not very good. And here's why. It does an extremely low amount of damage for 4 pips. It's 4 pips, and it doesn't even make it to 300 damage. That makes it dog shit, in my opinion. But it does have a Steel Ward ability, which is really unique, and it's not something we see on a lot of spells. So I think I might just put it in C tier, because I think it's a little bit more useful than all these, like, dog shit spells that we have down here. But, I don't know, just these absolutely ass ice spells. Fuck, dude. These tier list videos are weird. We got Angry Snow Pig coming in at C tier. I could see how it would be useful in some situations, but it is really, really situational. Last up, guys, but certainly not least, we have Reindeer Knight. Now, this spell is it's literally what you think it is. It's Deer Knight, but for ice. And, oh god, I just made him fat. Fuck. Let me just resize that real quick. I'm sorry, Reindeer Knight. Alright, he's gonna be a little bit more chonky than the others, okay? And for good reason. Because he's an S tier. He is literally just as strong as Deer Knight, I'm pretty sure. I mean, what can I say? It is just a really good spell. The damage is obviously, it's a bit split. It's a little bit more split. I don't really know why. I guess they had to make it different from Deer Knight, but it's literally just Deer Knight, but for ice. And Deer Knight's obviously a really, really good death spell, so why wouldn't it be a really good ice spell? It is. It is a really good ice spell, and you can get it. I have it on my ice. I use it all the time. Really, really efficient spell. Really, really good, just like Deer Knight in every right. But guys, that is literally just going to be it for this tier list. I mean, did pretty much every ice spell in the game. I don't think I missed any, considering this was off like an official Wizard101 website. But that's going to be all for this video, guys. I really hope you guys did enjoy. I will be doing the rest of the schools soon. Probably won't have as big of a gap between tier list videos, but, you know, that's okay, because I think a lot of people enjoy these anyway. But let me know your opinions for these spells in the comments down below. Obviously, people have had different experiences with them, so I'm sure people will have a little bit of differing opinions and everything. But anyways, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you guys just enjoyed this one. You could leave a like if you did, or subscribe for more content in the future, guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys, and peace out.